Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever for a 4v4 custom game played on the most iconic map of all time. It is, of course, Seton's. We all know and love it. And let's go ahead and get right into player introductions, starting with Team 1 in the Northeast and ending with Team 2 in the Southwest. And we will begin with the rear guard position for Team 1, and it will be a purple UEF going first land by the name of 5X. Then we can move on to the south with the light blue Cybran going first land, and his name is Ryan19919991. And that is, of course, his name. As we move on to the middle, of course it's his name. What else would it be? To the dark green Aeon best faction going first air, second land by the name of Excelsior. And is he going for an early bomber? That he is. What a Chad, what a mega giga Chad play. As we move up to the north for the, I don't know what color this is, it's like mustardy color, brown, Cybran going first air, and his name is Zwirezack, and he is walking his way to the middle now. As we move on to the second team with the dark blue UEF going first land by the name of or we're gonna call him Nancy, and his name is Nancy, and he is enjoying the air guard rear position, whatever you want to call it. And over here to the east at the beach position, we have ourselves the red UEF going first land by the name of JT. Then over to the front position for Team 2, we got an orange Aeon best faction, and his name is Mr. Science 101. Here in the middle on the causeway, we got an Aeon v Aeon matchup. That's going to be fun to watch as we move on to the purple UEF going first land, second air in the rock position for Team 2, and his name is Oshiri. And with that, we have all the players introduced, and we can talk about the map. About 15,000 reclaim on Seton's, as my voice is all of a sudden deciding to be very difficult, and I'm going to take this opportunity to hydrate, as it's very important. That first bomber coming out from Excelsior might get some damage done very soon. Could also see an early bomber out of Zwirezack with that early air factory he got up. Remember to hydrate, everybody. Super duper important to get that water into your body. If you don't do it, you're gonna die. You need water to live. So that's the greatest ad I could ever give for drinking water. And of course, we're just gonna sit here. We're just gonna sit here and see what these players get up to. We do, of course, have a lot going on here in the early game of Seton's. We have to look at the mini-map to see who's gonna get their transport first. And we do have a transport already finished up over here for Ryan. Do we have the same happening on the other side of the map? Yes, we do. We have a transport already finished up for Oshiri as well. And we'll go ahead and press end there. That, by the way, if you didn't know, if you press end on your keyboard, it takes you back to this position on the on the map with the camera every single time. Very nice hotkey. As up here to the north, we of course have the dropping of Oshiri. He's going out there, and there's nothing in the area that could really stop this. Over here to the east, it doesn't seem as though JT will either will have anything to stop the transport coming out from Ryan. So both Oshiri and Ryan gonna be getting the islands that they so rightfully deserve. And of course, we do have a transport now coming out from Zwirezack. Did he throw on any combat units? No, it's just 4 engineers. That's going to be really tough to make work. But hey, there's no factory thrown up just yet. It's now starting to go down. Maybe Zwirezack can make something happen. Meanwhile, in the middle, Excelsior and Mr. Science are having the dukening of a lifetime. They're just punching each other in the face with those hot and heavy plasma cannons. And of course, Zwirezack going to be showing up behind. Actually, what is the name of the Aeon gun? I'm sure it has a very interesting name. Let's just check that out. It, of course, has the auto overcharge cannon and the quantum disruptor. Huh. All right, they're quantumly disrupting each other. as Excelsior gonna be forced into the water, but Mr. Science looking really worse for wear, down to 2,000 HP, dipping in to the red HP there in a very, very dangerous turn of events. Does manage to get far enough under the water that he is not getting actively shot at, but wants to come back out, wants to deal some damage down onto Excelsior, really wants to get a scalp, but he may just be committing seppuku. He may just be dying on a hill that he should have never even approached to begin with, because Mr. Science is going to go down and Excelsior is going to walk away, or I should say limp away at 500 HP. And with that, at the 5-minute mark, we lose our first player of this action-packed match, and it is now looking very dangerous as now JT is forced into fighting a two-front war. He has to fight on the causeway, he has to fight on the beaches, he has to fight on the cliffs. He will fight them everywhere, and Winston Churchill will be proud because I managed to insinuate his great speech. That fun fact, you know, the recording of Winston Churchill doing that speech, like, we will fight them on the beaches, we will fight them on the shores, we will fight them in the hills, we will fight them in the cities, whatever. That speech, the one you've heard, was not the actual speech he gave to Parliament. It was a recording made years after the war. Fun fact, you learn something every day. So the island over here, Zwierzak has come over and asserted dominance. We love to see it here at Willow Industries. Assert your dominance, and really just made Oshiri look real silly, because Oshiri got there first, got the transport down, was in the position where it's like, oh yeah, there's no way we lose, and then loses the island. Not a huge loss in the grand scheme of things. After all, like, there's a much worse situation happening in the middle of the map with the loss of Mr. Science 101. But JT here in the middle, still trying to get reclaimed, still fighting the good fight, has managed to get up to 4.6 thousand. And overall, this team down here to the south has gotten the most reclaim. I don't know where Nancy down here managed to get, like, the most reclaim in the game, but they did that. That is something they did. How did they do that? They just have, like, a really clean build order, and wow, they got all of the trees. Man. Okay, Nancy is no slouch at Seton's. Don't fuck with Nancy. Nancy, you're gonna fuck your shit up. He's 2,000 rated for a reason. Meanwhile, over here to the west, Bombers trying to shut down Zwierzak, but Zwierzak has already gotten, like, a huge victory just by simply being able to take this island away from Oshiri, even for a little bit. That's just slowing down the enemy team by quite a bit. As over here to the east, you see Ryan is just holding onto this island, and these extra mexes, they're going to be a little bit of a tipping force, going to allow him to get into the water a little bit earlier, allow him to get some more upgraded mass extractors. Going to be very good for Zwierzak. And Zwierzak here in the middle with the commander is just, he's all over the map. He's doing very good work. JT also doing a decent job. The first player, in fact, to get out a naval unit. Actually, nope, that's a lie. We do have some submarines finished by Ryan. This northern pond, it's very funny. Zwierzak, he's like over here fighting on the island, he's over here fighting in the middle with the commander, still hasn't built a naval factory, which could be a cause for concern here soon. A few of these Lobos dropped over here to the west by Oshiri, but that's really not going to result in much. There is still a few units over here, but there's only one engineer left. This engineer needs to move. This engineer needs to dodge the shots coming out from that very, very dangerous Lobo. If it can survive the Lobo fire and get out another factory, rebuild the factory, that will be huge, but needs to be careful as a bomber is coming in. And if the bomber gets the engineer, that means that he'll have to come back over with his transport and drop more engineers. Meanwhile, in the middle, Zwierzak pushed back into the water, as these Auroras, they're really, they really don't like water. They have hydrophobia. Yep, that's happening. And of course, over here to the north, that engineer was killed off. Oshiri drops their own engineers down. Gonna lose a few of them, but most likely gonna be seeing this situation erupt into a very sad one for Zwierzak. But no, Zwierzak's gonna hold the island! Oh my lord, Zwierzak is just being the biggest pain for Oshiri right now, who would really love to just be set up. And over here in the middle, Excelsior trying to get a huge drop of fervors down. They may be the worst of the T1 mobile artillery, I will admit that, but if these fervors can just get set up in a good position to deal damage back here, that could be huge. In fact, it looks like it's not the first Lobo drop, it's not the first fervor drop coming out from Excelsior, as in comes more Lobos to land right down here, right next to the T3 Air HQ. He doesn't have the T3 Pigeon done yet. He could just focus down the Pigeon, but the ACU is going to come out. Does the ACU have access to overcharge? It does. In comes these fervors, but they managed to spread out just in time, so the overcharge isn't going to be too damaging. Let's see how much damage they can get done with their fervent attacks. Gonna be going for the T2 power generators. That's gonna be huge. It's gonna be very damaging. Does manage to get one of them, and the other one is going to almost die. That could have been way worse if the reaction out from Nancy wasn't better. But Nancy taking a lot of pressure here is going to get a little bit of reclaim, but that's going to set him back a little bit once that T2 Pigeon... I mean, I guess you don't need the T2 Pigeon, but it's going to make his power budget just a little bit harder to manage. Meanwhile, over here to the west, this island is no man's land. There's just one mechs for Zwirezack over there, and nobody else is allowed to have any kind of claim over that island. Meanwhile, in the southern pond, JT now under a lot of threat due to the submarine force coming out from Ryan. Ryan gonna be really setting JT back here, as he's able to possibly get a full naval lock onto the red UEF, who is managing so much, having to fight in the middle. But the fight in the middle is going very well for JT. Gotta look for those silver linings, and right now the silver lining for Team 2 is the fact that right now JT is doing an admirable job on land. Zwirezack trying to set up a point defense here in the middle, trying to stem the tide of units coming out from JT's base. And also over here to the west, Oshiri has dropped a whole bunch of strikers, has decided enough is enough. And I think that finally we're going to see Oshiri taking over this island. And he has also gotten a bit of a naval lead. There's a lot of naval factories now built up for Zwirezack, but overall it does seem that Oshiri is going to be able to have naval control, at least for the moment. Down here to the south, the naval lockening didn't quite didn't quite happen, but right now Ryan is doing a good job against JT. JT is in a decent position. But JT and Oshiri need to get a handle on the navies right now, because it's looking a little bit scary down here in the southern side. JT, of course, having that inflated eco, highest eco in the game at 151 mass second, followed quickly behind by his ally at 123. Overall economies, Team 1 far out ahead, as is to be expected. You have 4 players all doing reclaim, all managing their ecos independently. They're gonna do a little bit better as it's all mixed up. Meanwhile, JT has to eco on both of his bases, which makes it easier to upgrade one mechs at a time, but makes it harder to just, like, balance it and keep it all going. It's much more difficult to... Listen, managing 2 things is harder than managing 1 thing, as we all know. And right now, JT is managing 2 things. And we gotta give the credit where the credit's due! I do love that over here to the west, this island still isn't really claimed by either side because of the fact that he only dropped strikers and Lobos. He doesn't have an engineer over there yet. It's finally going to happen, as we have a bunch of engineers about to be loaded onto this transport and thrown over to that island. But man, it was a struggle. That was a struggle for that island for a long, long time out of these players. Down to the south, we have a lot of naval factories cropping up for JT. But overall, JT is just struggling to put together enough navy. But right now, you do have to be a little bit worried for Ryan. Ryan keeps on pushing in here and fighting around torpedo launchers. Torpedo launchers aren't very scary if you're able to focus them down, and he is going to focus them down, but while he's doing that, he's not shooting back at the frigates. And overall, going to lose a lot of navy right here. Has also been dumping quite a bit of mass. Let's just check how much mass is near JT's base right now. We just need to pop that out for a second. 2.2 thousand. And that's kind of like, that's quite a bit of the mass on the map. We also have some mass here in the middle. About 1,000 just sitting right here on the causeway. But overall, most of the mass on the map, most of the conglomerated mass is due to the fighting down here. So JT going to be sitting in a very pretty position as far as reclaim goes, especially if he's able to set up a lot of reclaiming engineers, and he does have a lot of factories to do so with. So that will be interesting. Also, the air game going heavily in favor, at least at the moment, of, I would say, Nancy. I think Nancy's just doing a little bit better. It is a huge mismatch, a 2,000 rated player in air versus an 1,100. The biggest mismatch in this game. It's actually, the balance of this game was not quite, it's a balanced game, don't get me wrong, but it was kind of done in a weird way where you have the beach and the front position for this northern team are just hugely outclassing the beach and the front position for the enemy team, but the rock and the air position are a little bit more favorable right now for the southern team, and those positions are arguably the two most important on the map. So, very interesting slot balance, but overall we do have a very, very close, in fact, identical average rating for these teams at 1,525 for both teams. So both sides going to be looking really, really strong here in this game. Of course, we do have to take into account Mr. Science is already dead, but JT isn't too much below Mr. Science in terms of rating. Overall economy, so let's just go ahead and check it. Right now, Nancy, 5X, and JT doing very well, all nearing or passing the 200 mass a second mark. Overall economies, Team 1 down here, or Team 1 up here to the north doing a lot better, but the individual economies of JT and Nancy are stronger than almost the entire rest of the field, so interesting to see if concentrated eco or just overall more eco is going to win the day. As down here to the south, JT now starting to pump out a bunch of T2 naval units. Already got a couple of Valiants out. T2 Navy is just finished up now for Ryan. Would love to see Ryan start throwing a lot more mass into his Navy as he's starting to look a little bit... It's starting to look a little bit dicey in this southern pond. In the northern pond, we're seeing just a huge conglomeration of units for both sides. I think there's more T2, though, right now for Zwierzak, which is going to give him a huge boon. In fact, T2 isn't even done yet for Oshiri. Oshiri has wasted a lot of time up here on this island fight and is... he's even in economy with the beach player, which is usually not what you want to see. You want to see your rock player surpassing the beach player in overall economy. Excelsior here in the middle has managed to reclaim this territory that was taken over by JT. Speaking of reclaim and speaking of territory, down here in the south we have a huge naval fight, and it does seem to be going the way of Ryan despite the lack of T2 units present in the fight. Does have some T2 units coming out in the back line, but that's going to leave a lot of reclaim, 1.3 thousand, and right now overall reclaims, Nancy is just sitting on an absolute monster reclaim number of 22,000 before 20 minutes, 14,000 for JT, who is also doing a pretty good job, 5X at 13,000, and Zwierzak at 7,000, and everybody else at or below 7,000. Actually, we have a bunch of people at exactly 7.2 thousand, 3 players. Interesting to see that. Reclaim gonna become very important as full T3 economy about to be finishing up right now for Nancy. What is he gonna do afterwards is the question. How long until we start seeing those late game economy options for him? Is he gonna start spamming out those oh so oppressive RAS boys? Only time will tell. Down here to the south, we have more naval action going on. Units just pummeling each other. And Ryan, despite just seemingly having less units, is pushing back against JT as we have a huge naval engagement now brewing down here to the middle of the map in the causeway area. Does seem as though Zwierzak's going to run away, but doesn't really need to. Has the T2 forces. An attack move right now would be very strong for the brown Cybran player there. But does decide to pull out. Is very conscious of possible consequences of staying in. Make sure you hydrate, everybody. Super important. Get yourself a drink of water. Or, you know, tea or coffee if you're not really a water drinker, but you want to get your hydration. Those two are very good options. As down here to the south, to the east, I also want to say I'm not insinuating that, like, drinking coffee instead of water is a good idea. Don't do that. But, hey, if you like those, you like those. Just drink something. Get some liquids in you. This is a weird thing to talk about. Right now, it does seem as though JT might just be able to get a naval lockout onto Ryan. Ryan's desperately trying to throw together some torpedo launchers and build a destroyer. But right now, JT is just looking strong with all those Valiant classes, the occasional Governor thrown in to help with the eventual end goal of all of this, which will be the spamming of torpedo bombers. We're already seeing the torpedo bombers come out. But with this, the T2 Naval HQ almost assuredly gonna go down. With that, we're looking at a very scary situation right now for Ryan, as it just seems like JT is kind of inevitable. He's inevitable, inexorable, monstrous. Got bars weighing on you harder than your haunting guilty conscience. His name is Thanos. Oh man, I listen to way too much ERB. So yeah, that's where that's from. Go watch that one. It's a really good one. Stop this video right now. Go watch Epic Rap Battles of History. Robert J. Oppenheimer versus Thanos. Go watch it. I think it's Robert. I don't know. Oppenheimer has some great quotes though, like, you know, the father of the atomic bomb and such. Down here to the middle of the map as we change back to the topic of FAF, because I'm sure none of you all really want to hear about random shit that I talk about. We got destroyers getting killed off by blazes. The hover spam technology coming out from JT. Doing very well. Unfortunately, doesn't quite have enough hover because the ever-present rule of more shit counters less shit is still in play. It's in play at all times in FAF. But I love to see the effort. I love to see the hover floaty naughty coming out from JT, as I think floaty naughty is what Guile uses for describing Zooies, right? Or does he use it's walkie naughty? I don't know, man. I'm not trying to copy Guile. Trust me, if I were, I'd say shit like electric blue and Ferrari red. That's how you know the real copiers of Guile. I don't know why I'm talking about Guile so much. I need to shut up, man. As the naval units out from JT continue to siege down, gonna get a lot of damage done onto this main base here of Ryan, and Ryan's just looking really beat up here. Gonna start losing this island. Managed to get full T3 mexes on this island. Gonna regret the placement of those mexes very soon, as the siege of his island will commence shortly. And overall, the naval loss of Ryan is going to be felt really intensely right now by Excelsior, who is just going to be in a very difficult position. Has built a nuke launcher and is currently nuking. Wait, is it nuking? No, it's not. I hate that. It needs to say building instead of nuking or something when it's just building, because it has an order right now and it's like we can't see it. Okay, we can kind of see it. Where is that nuke order going? It's awkward. He has a nuke. It's ordered to nuke the second it's done building, but you can't really see where the nuke is without hovering over it specifically. Oh god, I just failed at breathing. Whew. Ow. Remember to hydrate. Maybe you won't fail at breathing. My ADD is really working against me today. But yeah, his plan is to nuke the main base of Nancy. Nancy doesn't have an anti-nuke yet, but is building one. That anti-nuke The construction is paused, but about halfway done. I'm sure they've spotted out that nuke launcher by now, and that nuke launcher is getting real close to being done. That could be very scary for the southern team. Might see a snipe onto that. Meanwhile, over here to the east, we have a bunch of broadswords now coming out from Nancy. He's going to be able to do the damage, the horrible, horrible damage. And oh no, it's a disaster for the northern team. JT and Nancy are really just making this eastern side of the map their own territory. You ever just have like a tickle in your throat and you just can't manage to get rid of it? I'm trying so hard to commentate some FAF here. Or, I mean, I'm struggling to talk in general. I'm just saying random shit. But, I keep on having these coughing fits, and I'm gonna have to edit them all out for your listening pleasure. Down here to the bay, we have the Air Force of Nancy just really posturing aggressively. Although, I don't know if Nancy just wins an airfight here or not. It'd be close. It does look like the numbers are relatively close. Don't want to see this, though. You don't want to have your ASF flying over even frigates. It's not good for you. And Ryan currently... Wait, that's not Ryan. I'm not looking for Ryan. We have 172 ASF for 5X. And on the other side, we have 206. It could go either way. This is determined entirely by... Did you all hear that? I swear I just heard... Okay, I swear I just heard strategic launch detected and there was no nuke, and now I hear it. I'm like psychic. I'm hearing things that don't exist. The anti-nuke for Nancy is not done yet, and there's no anti-nuke in the frontal base, so this nuke is just gonna land. Oh no! It's a disaster. Unless he can manage to load this anti-nuke. No, there's no way. And now Nancy is under threat of nuclear bombardment. A conflagration of fire is about to envelop his air grid, and it's gonna hurt. He's about to be taken to Pound Town on a one-way ticket to hell. And with that, the balance of this game is completely shifted. Now with complete air dominance. There is absolutely no way at the moment for Nancy to realistically maintain air control. He has the ASF he has, and when they're gone, they're gone. It's gonna take him a while to rebuild that air grid. He still has a very strong economy, but that knocked him down from arguably the strongest economy to 4th or 5th. His team overall is doing okay economically. They're matching, but he is in a very, very difficult position right now. And I would love to see some aggressive air fights coming out from 5X. 5X right now needs to win air, because if he can win air, he can just allow his team to start dominating with things like torpedo bombers, things like strat bombers, things like gunships. Really, really want to see aggressive play. That's what you need to do when you take out the enemy air grid. Force them into an air fight. It doesn't matter if you lose the air fight. They lose harder because they can't replace their units. It's not about the units you have right now. It's about how many you can replace them with in 5 minutes. And right now, that would be a race firmly won by the Maver constructing 5X. Control K-ing one of his factories to build a Maver. Is that really happening? Gonna build some Ravagers for... Wow. Wow. That is an interesting play, to say the least. I don't understand it, though. Do they feel that desperate? I mean, you just have to deal with JT, and then... Yet again, you just nuked the air player. Come on, get an air fight. Do it. Come on. I'm like that meme where you're, like, poking the bear with a stick. Come on, do something, 5X. And build a Maver is not the something. That takes a long time. That's boring. Give the people what they want to see. They want to see a big old air fight that Willow doesn't miss, because I miss every air fight. And now that I'm cognizant of that, I can't get the big air fights to happen on screen. As over here to the west, we have a huge naval engagement now starting to take place. Or hell, it could have been taking place for a while. There's really just not a lot of Tech 2 in this force coming out from Oshiri. It makes me a little bit worried. I mean, I guess it's just battleships right now, and there are some Neptunes and a Summit out for Oshiri, but just seems like Zwierzak has a better composition. Especially with these battleships, they were in the front tanking all the damage coming out from those frigates. The frigate numbers are just collapsing for Oshiri, and Zwierzak is looking strong. All of these frigates just grouped up on each other. An attack move out from Zwierzak means he's getting this kind of encirclement going on. Also has all these destroyers in the back just firing away into the frigates. The Neptunes could be very scary, but as long as the battleships can focus them down, it's gonna be alright. And there's another battleship showing up in the back line. That shield boat gonna be very useful, but that shield boat only gonna stop damage for a few seconds. And overall, the naval engagement, I think, is gonna go the way of Zwierzak. Although the frigate core is still holding out, no, it's collapsing. And it's gonna be a disaster for Oshiri. Without the frigate count, it's gonna be very difficult to keep your Neptunes. It's gonna be very difficult to keep your Summits alive. You need the frigate count. You always need more frigates when you're fighting these big naval engagements. Meanwhile, over here to the east, we have an absolute land invasion coming out from JT, as well as mass hover spam of blazes. He was using them for the Navy, but now he's just sending them in, and there's very little on the ground to stop them out from Excelsior, who is still trying to build up more nukening, damaging things. But right now, this southern side of the northern team base is kind of collapsing. We have Salem's being built en masse in attempts to produce a ground defense. We have Cerberus going up, but the base is now being overrun by Lobos. And things are looking real dire for Ryan. And by extension, that means that Excelsior and 5X are under threat. The Maver is now starting construction. It's already up to 10%. But the Maver seems like a weird Hail Mary play, and every second that there's not an air fight right now is a bad second. Or, yeah, it's just a bad second for 5X. The air fight, 300 mass, or 300 ASF versus his opponent who's like 50 ASF behind. Take the air fight. You just win that shit. Come on, do it. Do it. You could get so much with air control right now, but over here on the northern side, all of the frigates, they just died to the mass Neptune and the hover spam, all of these Riptides. All of this help coming out. And Zwierzak is looking dangerously thin on the naval front. He does have a sneaky nuke sub built up here in the northwest corner. But I'm not sure what that's going to really achieve, trying to get some mobile missile launches that will hit this T3 mechs, but unfortunately all it's doing is having a verbal disagreement with the ground. As JT is threatening to overrun the base of Ryan. If that happens, it's going to be very, very dangerous for the northern team. 23% 5X says. I'm guessing that's the Maver percentage. Yes, it is. And now it's all the way up to 30. He is building the Maver relatively quickly. He does have one of the highest economies in the game. But now Nancy is getting the air grid back online. Nancy is going to start abusing air because 5X is unwilling to take an air fight. Despite sitting in a very strong position, is afraid of the air fight. Mass Jester now going to be employed to deal with Lobos. As Cerberus are being set up, Triads being built by T2 engineers. Very sad these aren't Sparkies. Would have loved to see some Sparkies building those. And over here in the northern side, the naval production of Zwierzak, now under threat, does have a few battleships kicking around, is still trying to produce a whole bunch of frigates and more battleships, but how do you deal with this? He's killing off some of the Neptunes, but now he's just out of frigates. And he doesn't have Neptunes of his own to just destroy all the frigates. He's gonna build a Harms, or a couple of Harms. That could be a good answer. Does have more frigates always gonna be coming off the line, but this is a very precarious position for the 1800 rated Brown Cybran player. As over here to the east, Jesters and Cerberus are holding strong, but the question is, for how long can they do this? These Salems are starting to rack up a lot of kills. 65 kills, 24 kills. 143 kills on this Salem, and it's at full HP. Just killing everything. Also, JT is sitting on 84,000 mass reclaimed. How many T1 engineers does this man have? He's sitting on... Oh my lord. He's sitting on like 500 engineers. Over half of his population cap is in engineers right now. That is wild. That is very wild. Half of the pop cap just used on engineers is quite funny to me. And he's really going to be sitting on the strongest economy here soon. I mean, he has the most bases. I'd be surprised. At this point, you're getting so much reclaim, JT. Just throw every mechs to T3. Throw every mechs to T3. Why ain't you doing it? Come on, JT. I believe in you. As over here to the north, the naval production for Zwierzak is all but eliminated, with the broadsword showing up with no willingness out of 5X to fight an air fight. And now at this point, he's waited too long. He probably loses the air fight against Nancy. Yeah, I mean, no, could still very much so win. Still has the ASF count advantage. That nuke could have been so much more impactful if 5X didn't worry about a Maver. And, well, I mean, the Maver is in green health now, up to 75%, but it's a very scary situation, as Zwierzak is just in a very difficult position. Excelsior says get rid of the air grid here and here, wants to get rid of those. But even if you do, what's the end game play? I mean, hell, at this point, a not invalid strategy is just to spam out Atlantis right now for Nancy, because if you spam out Atlantis, that means you can't get locked out of air, and that is maybe one of the only avenues for the northern team to really win this game, is just full-on air domination. As the Maver is up to 86%, 87%, it's rising slowly. JT is kind of stalled out on this front. That is one good saving grace right now, as JT is no longer making progress. Where is that Salem that had like over 100 kills? 164 kills. He's just living his best life. I respect that Salem. The air grid most likely going to be knocked down by this Maver, but what will it mean in the long run? This nuke sub almost has a nuke built and is just sitting here. There's not really anything that can threaten it, though. As the Navy... Oh, is that the Maver? Maver is done. Let's see what it's going to fire at first. I think that this will track the Maver shell. I'm pretty sure it does. If it doesn't, then oh well. As the Maver goes up and the shell, it's a flying. Let's see where it will go. Wow, that's a really good way to get like a tracking shot across the map. Oh my god, this is so beautiful! Look at this beautiful tracking shot. Oh my god, I've never done this before. But I really enjoy it. In comes the shell. I think it's landing on that forward air grid where the T3 air HQ is. And in it comes, and BAM! Oh, that is painful. I want to get one more tracking shot across the map. Oh my god, so much red is just coming down to the north. Up to the north, whatever. So much red as more Maver shells continue to land. The second air grid now under threat. As this shell is going real weird trajectory. Where is this shell going? Is this the shell? I think this is the shell. In it comes. Oh man, that was a beautiful tracking shot, but holy moly! JT is making this game look like a survival match. He's just throwing hordes of units. I love JT right now. JT is a man after my heart. He's just using blazes. He's also just living his best life, just throwing all of the units at the wall. I love horde tactics. Just throw so many units at the enemy and say, deal with it. Deal with my... How much mass does he have in land units right now? Deal with my 50,000 mass worth of blazes and T1 units. I dare you. Strategic launch detected. That nuke landed over here. Wonder what that was, where that nuke originated. Oh, it was the nuke sub. Didn't really get too much done. You know battleships don't die in nukes. Yeah, I mean, he's still got damage done. Stop being so BM, Oshiri. You got styled on in the beginning of this game, Oshiri. He styled on you with that island shit. I mean, also he has like 600 more rating. I don't know why I don't know. I like the Southern team more. No, fuck it. Oshiri, trash talk all you want. I like your trash talk now. I've changed my mind. As JT, man after my heart, is just... He's destroying everything of Ryan. And not just Ryan, he's sending units to kill Zwierzak. He's sending units out. He just got units. There's a GC now coming out from Excelsior, who I haven't really talked about much, but he still exists. He's still around. He's still kicking. Somehow has 45 mass a second. Don't know where he's getting that from. I guess he has some RAS SCUs. And man, the economic disadvantage for Team 1 is now apparent. The air grids have been destroyed. Oh, he actually did it. He's actually started spamming Atlantis. I didn't review this replay, just so you know. I just trust the person who sent it in. And he's just going to build Atlantis. Oh, come on. Build a whole bunch of them. Oh, I hope he does. That'd be a very funny play. Or build aircraft carriers. Either or. As the GC continuing to fight its way around here. We have gunships coming in from Zwierzak to try and help out. But there's a bunch of flak mixed in here for JT, who is just sending wave after wave of units like it's a survival game. How many land... He must be having issues with PopCap. Like, is he still sitting on like 500 engineers? No, not nearly as many engineers. Has a lot of idle engineers. Most of his units are now transitioning into becoming land units to attack the enemy. I'm still surprised he's only on 200 mass a second with this overwhelming double base economy he should have. But hey, his tactics are cheap. They're effective. He's like the Joker. He likes gasoline and gunpowder and explosives. And what do all those have in common? They're cheap. I don't know the exact quote. I'm not as good as Duelist at pop culture, okay? I know. I have my shortcomings, and so does he. As right now... How is... does 5X somehow still have the air advantage? 344 versus Nancy sitting at 340. I don't know how Nancy still has so many ASF. I mean, I guess he's not having any kind of air fights happening. Don't stall, your SMDs won't load if you stall even slightly. Yeah, that's good advice. What about, can we check this? Excelsior sitting on, yeah, he is stalling. Not good. JT sitting at 151,000 mass reclaimed, just casually. I like JT and JT's playstyle right now. More blazes coming in. They're getting reclaimed by hives. You know you're desperate and you have way too much APM when you have the APM to reclaim blazes with hives. But also, Zwirerzak's just being kind of a cockroach over here, just not willing to give up. Making the enemy fight for each and every inch. As the Maver continues to fire, how much mass has this Maver killed? 93,000 mass. That is a lot of mass. But I just don't see how this Maver does enough damage to, like, win the game. It's weird. Usually the player with the Maver, you're like, all right, they're gonna win this. But the player with the Maver right now, it's like, yeah, they could win this, but how? What do you even hit? There is no, like, solid target that's like, yes, this is the best thing to hit. Like, you could go for comm snipes. Just start hitting Oshiri's comm, which is just out in the, with it. Oshiri's just sitting over here with his dick in the breeze. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna stand next to mass fabricators and power generators while there's a Maver on the map. I don't believe in shields. Oshiri is just ballin'. I appreciate it. But also, the question is, like, how do you break this base for the Southern team? You have the entire map at your disposal, but they're just kind of chilling beneath a bunch of shields. They have all of the ASF. They have SAMs. They got, like, GCs just walking around to kill things off. It is a very turtle-y game right now. But the Maver continues to just fire at whatever it can. Going for power generators, that seems like a good idea. You've built an experience. Oh, now he's building Novax. He's just going full standoff. 5X might be able to, like, stand off enough to just kill off, like, you kill off enough economy and you can win this, but also they're over 1,000 mass a second ahead of you at the moment. Which is not good. Most of that mass differential is Nancy, who is sitting on probably an ungodly amount of RAS SUs. Only 29. That's not that many. I mean, like, if it's like take it or leave it, you have 29 RAS SUs or none. Holy shit. What? Look how quickly this thing's building. It's just fucking coming out of thin air. Building those RAS boys so quick. I think that we're finally gonna see the dismantling of this northern side of the map. Zwirerzak, who's down to 79 mass a second, can't really afford his air grid. Can't really afford much of anything, is just building a bunch of PD to try and stop the ever-present wave of units. But these torrents, oh my god, JT even went for torrents. I don't care who wins this game, JT has won our hearts, okay? Be like JT, don't be like 5X, don't go to standoff, just go for T1 and T2 land spam, torrents, all of the meme units, build them all. Never get past T2 mexes on Setons. JT embodies what we all strive to be, I know he does. At least right now, in this game. In other games, JT might be, like, the most annoying, not cool player. But in this game, I stand with JT. As more and more units from JT push forward, and more of the map becomes hostile territory for Team 1. 190. This Maver has almost paid itself off, which is not something the Maver gets to do very often. Oh, he's just building a bunch of Atlantis. I told you. He's gonna do it. He's gonna build all the Atlantis. Oh, that's beautiful. You can't have an air grid, but you can have an Atlantis grid. Wait, so if you have an Atlantis, does that count as having an HQ? No, it doesn't. Okay. Another Atlantis finishes up and more are on the way. Another Novax is done. Zwirerzak is losing more and more territory over here to the northwest. Strategic launch detected out of this nuke sub from Zwierzak that is still just chilling. Nothing is killing it. Where's this nuke going? It's going down here. I think it's gonna land. But you know, the calm of Oshiri is just it just avoids all dangers. It's just walked away. That's gonna be another death. Oshiri very upset about that one. This Plan B. Does the Plan B have its own torpedoes? It does, and this is a 5-vet Plan B, so it's going to be very hard for T1 subs to kill that. Oh man, that's quite funny. Up here to the north, JT continuing to push forward. Gonna start struggling a little bit more as the base is getting more and more entrenched. We also, of course, have to talk about all of these Salems. 66 kills, 56 kills, 32 kills, 41 kills, 34 kills, 56, 63, 186. These Salems really making their value known. Also have some loyalists now out on the field to deal with all these pesky little Lobos. But in the middle, the Blazes are still pushing forward. And we have a Fat Boy on the way, and it really is just becoming a survival sim. We now have factories being built up over on the beach side of the map by JT. JT is just determined to win this game through brute force. He's of the school of, if brute force isn't working, you're not using enough of it. I'm surprised he's just not having constant unit cap issues. He might, but like, feels like he's using a lot of units on the field at any given time. And also sitting on nearly 200,000 reclaim. Has the Maver paid itself off? The Maver is still not paid itself off, but it's getting close. I'm assuming it's always firing. As over here to the east, a bunch of broadswords showing up. How is Nancy doing on air? 325 ASF versus 423. 5X has been in an advantageous position airwise like the entire game, but is just refusing to use air for anything. Remember to hydrate, everybody. Very important. I'm probably beating that hydrate thing to death right now. I've said it way too many times, but hey, I'm good at repeating myself. As down comes more Maver shells, gonna be able to maybe kill off the last of the T3 air factories that are useless for Nancy. Nancy is just really like a cockroach sitting over here. His air production grid is currently 7 Atlantis. That's a lot of broadswords being held by those Atlantis. JT is sitting on 168 Lobos, 103 Fervors, 73. He just at any given time has a fuck ton of units. It's great. I love it. We have a Fat Boy over here trying to defend. Broadswords coming in. They're going to kill off all of the... No! The Hero Salem, 220 kills! Oh, it goes down. The broadswords into Dynasty there. Teleporter now on the way for Zwierzak. Strategic launch detected. I'm sure the anti-nukes are loaded, though. Yeah, this one's loaded. That one's loaded. That's not going to be an issue. As in comes multiple nukes, but there's still multiple loads, so it should be fine. Multiple big, thick, steamy loads, if you know what I mean. Oh, hell, this one in the front's even loaded. As more Fervors, more Lobos trying to make their way in towards the base. all 3 commanders of Team 2 just chilling in this southern pond. How? Whoa! What? Wait. What? Oh yeah, it's just a casual, you know, like 70. Actually 80. There's over 80, I think. These 2 numbers add up to above 80, don't they? There's like over 80 RAS SCUs. Now there's definitely over 80. No, there's not. I'm bad at math. I should stop doing math. Like, here in a second, there will be. Yeah, well, 1 more RAS SCU, and we'll have over 80. Okay, we're over 80. I can do math, I swear. And with that, Nancy is at like 1.6k mass a second by themselves. Sitting on all these broadswords. JT is just a wave of red coming across the map. We have 2 Novaxes, no more. Double Fat Boy getting a bunch of kills. There's so many units for JT. There's so much reclaim going on. Has the Maver paid itself off? Yes, it finally has. The Maver paid itself off. Reclaim. JT has a Maver worth of reclaim right now, which is quite funny. And just overall, economically, I just don't see a way for this northern team to come back into it. Like, it's gonna take them a while to die. But we're gonna speed it up as much as the game will let us. And, yeah, it's not gonna let us speed up at all, actually, so not much to worry about there. We ain't Speedy Gonzalez, that's for sure. So many RAS SUs. At this point, it might be a valid strategy to just try and walk them into the enemy base. Where are all of them anyways? They're just all just kind of like sitting in various little spots. They got their little hubs. As a huge air fight takes place finally! I catch the air fight! It's been looming here for 50 minutes! Who's gonna win it? In comes a bunch of broadswords. The broadswords are gonna be really dangerous. There's also a bunch of SAMs here. The air fight may be won, but the broadswords are gonna come in. They're gonna be able to focus down on the Maver, which has no shielding left. How did all the shields go down? Oh no, it's a disaster! The air fight is definitively won, but the Maver goes down! And the Maver... It wasn't like it was winning the game for them, but not having a Maver versus having a Maver, those are 2 different worlds. And now we sit and wait, because that is almost assuredly the nail, the final nail in the coffin. Our sim speed is able to go up because of how many ASF died there. He went from 400 ASF to basically 0. And look at that, still 234 ASF. Yet again, proving my point. You could have won an air fight at any time and started abusing air. In fact, you can still abuse air. You don't need any more ASF. You can just build nothing but like strat bombers and gunships and probably get... You probably still have a chance in this game. It's just going to be very difficult. That's a lot of nukes. 2 anti-nukes loaded there, 1 loaded there, none loaded there. 3 loaded there, so I don't think these nukes are necessarily going to break through yet. I have 18 SMD. Why are you just stating that to the world? You don't have an 18 SMD. Why are you lying? Why are you lying? What you lying for? You ain't in the plains of Africa. You ain't a lion. Why you lying? Be honest, 5X. I don't know why I'm judging him on that. I start games and say, alright, my Paragon is done, so I'm a liar too. Say it, do as I say, not as I do. As JT is painting the map red with his 323 fervors and 400 and he has hit unit cap in just mobile artillery. JT is legit hit unit cap. You can see that like his factories are struggling to produce units. Hello, mister. Why you wanna kill me? Oh, wait, there was a teleport out from Zwirerzak. He's trying to kill Oshiri with a teleport torpedo. To win my lane, why you wanna kill me? There's 500 Atlantis there, bro. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Zwirerzak's he's living his best life right now. And with that, we're gonna have our, this is only our second death in 55 minutes. Oh, he teleported out. Oh, where'd he go? He went over here. Ah, look at that. He's still alive. That's, interesting. Also, happy to leave this game. GG. Says Oshiri. And in comes all of the... JT is so... This is just so beautiful. So much red. He's painting the map red with his units. And the blood of his enemies, obviously. Alright, well, Zwirerzak is gonna try and get T3 to come back and build, I think he's gonna try and come back and build torpedo launchers himself. JT is just kind of chilling over here with a bubble shield. Where's the commander of Blue Boy? Nancy. Nancy over here is just walking around with a bubble shield too. But all of them got bubble shields. They got the bubbliest of shields. How many kills does this fat boy have? 165. Is that GC still kicking around? It is. 351 kills. But you know that he's only really killing Fervors and Lobos, because with 353 kills, it's only at 2 vet. Oh, that's quite funny. Another fat boy over here, 129 kills. This is really a survival simulator. JT is just he's just created a survival game for these other 4 players to play. And I love it. I love this. This is beautiful. I want to go to sleep. Well, you can always control K. All right, that's a nuke launch. Do you not have a bed? Oh, I just love the banter. They're just talking to each other now. Hello, mister. Stop talking so much. JT, you have a small PP. I have 18 SMDs. JT underwater. Oshiri underwater. Direct fire JT. Can I now die, please? I'm too busy dragging this game out. Oh man. We're just gonna sit here and watch the units do their thing. Oh, he transferred his base over to Excelsior. Oh wait, is that a Maver? They rebuilt the Maver! Excelsior now has a Maver. 5X is gonna go ahead and go to bed. I mean, now that they have a Maver, there's still a chance. They could ground fire. No amount of water will protect you from ground fire, I'm pretty sure. So, if Excelsior has the APM, and he does because he's an 1800, could just go for it. Also has the 3 defense satellites again. JT's still trying to push in. If there is ever a chink in the armor of this defense, JT will find it. Strategic launch detected. Strategic launch detected. That's going to be a lot of nukes. Oh, wait, that might just be enough nukes. Yeah, I think that's enough nukes. Especially if they aren't in range of this SMD. Well, it's only 2, so if this SMD is in range, that'll be enough. The Maver shells are not going towards the ACUs. And in comes the nukes. One gets shot down. Whoa, the other one doesn't get shot down. What? Oh no, it's a disaster. The second anti-nuke just decided not to. It decided not to anti-nuke. It was on its like smoke break. Another dead Maver, by the way. 2 dead Mavers in one game. Another nuke's gonna land. Same exact spot. Doesn't really kill much, but A. Very pretty. And now, I think that's the game over. I think that, they lost the survival simulator. Yep. Sorry, waste hours of, and hours of everyone's time. Nuclear Holocaust, GG, well played. All G, GG. No worries, you didn't waste. GG, fun game, fun game. I love this chat! Oh man, everybody's so wholesome. Everybody's so good. I think this match is gonna be over. Are they just gonna drag it out so that the number on the clock says an hour? I mean, I appreciate it. You're dragging it out for my view time. All of the nukes coming in. Whoo! JT Control K's everything? He Control K'd all his factories. 156 boys. What was the chance of a desync? Not good these days. Slim. Excelsior defeated by Control K. That means it's down to Ryan and Zwierzak. Zwierzak has built an experimental. Zwierzak has teleported. Where did he go? No one knows. Wait, no, he didn't teleport. Did he teleport? Where the hell did his comm go? Zwierzak, where is you? Ryan was defeated by Control K. It's just Zwierzak. Where did his ACU go? Oh, it was over here. Alright, don't tell me anymore. Thank you all for watching. You've been beautiful. This was a very fun game to cast. Hope to see you in future videos. You all are beautiful. Thank you to the patrons and channel members who support me so much. This is Willow signing off!
But if I lay down